Hey guys, I wanted to show you the next step of the project. Now you just learned about sunsets and saw several examples. Now I want to show you how to do the first step, which is practicing how to do the sky. Now what you want to get out is the smaller sheet of paper. I'm looking around to see if I have a regular sheet. So this is a regular sheet of paper, and you can see that the practice is quite a bit smaller. Now the real paper is going to be a little bit smaller than this one yet, but it's still bigger than the practice. So get out the smallest paper. Now you also want to get out your watercolors. You also want to have a water cup and a paintbrush. Now your paintbrush is good or is usable if you get it wet and you can get it to a point. If it's still super furry, like a bad hair day, you don't want to use it. So kind of like my hair, if it's all over the place, can't control it, don't use it. So what you're gonna do is first start taking your yellow and make sure yellow is clean. Hopefully your watercolor sets are clean because they haven't been used yet. So I'm just using the tip of my brush, I'm not grinding it. You just want to get a little bit of pigment on your brush. Now I'm going to start by going across about the center of my paper. I'm going to make a horizontal line, go straight across, and then make an arch, like a half circle, and then back across to the other side. Now if you make a mistake and you don't like how you made your arch, just bring your sunset down a little bit. Your line, you can do it again. Make your arch. So you don't have to throw it away or anything like that. All right, the next thing I want to do is to slightly get my paper wet. I want the colors to blend. I don't want the paper to suck up all the pigment. So if I get my paper wet, it's going to allow the paint to move. Now I'm going to get a little bit more paint on my brush, still not grinding it. Just kind of dab it in there. So watercolors pretty much stain the paper. The paper absorbs it. And that's how the color is made. So instead of the paint just sitting on the surface, it actually gets sucked into the paper fibers. Now if you look on a color wheel, which I'll have one on the screen, I'll put that on there, you'll be able to tell that orange is the next color. So I'm gonna clean up my paintbrush. Every time I change colors, I always wash out my brush really good because you don't want your paint tray to get all mixed up. All right, then I'm gonna take a little bit of orange, just gently rubbing the edge a little bit, and kind of dab it on. You may wanna just get the paper a little bit wet first, just so the paint doesn't get absorbed right away. And I'll put more paint on. Now we're not painting rainbows. This is gonna be part of the sky. So we do wanna make sure that the paint's a little more fluid and moves around on its own. If you just kind of paint it on without any water or very little water, it's gonna get absorbed and you're gonna see stripes. Add a little bit more water. Now as you add more water, it's going to dilute the paint, which is gonna make the paint lighter. So if you decide that you don't like how light it's looking, you can always add another layer or just add a little more paint right away. Now next color, going around the color, will be the red. So I'm just gonna take my red. You can see where I just dabbed it, just kind of starts to spread around. And I'm not overlapping my colors too much because if I completely overlap my orange, I'm gonna end up with a red orange and not any orange at all. So you can overlap some, but just don't take your brush and go over everything. Now you do want to be really careful that you don't accidentally use brown or black in your sky because it will make your sky really polluted and muddy looking. Now I'm probably gonna have room for purple, and that's where most of you will end. If you do want to put a little blue, you could put a little blue in, but don't go beyond blue on the color wheel, or you'll end up with a tornado looking sky. Now, as you are painting, you might notice that your paper starts to buckle and kind of curl, and that's normal. Artists a lot of times will tape down their paint or their paper so that way the colors don't flow everywhere. Now, I am getting a little bit of paint flowing in areas I might not want. One thing you can do is to take your brush and just kind of dry it off. And then if we use your paintbrush on your paper, it's going to absorb some of the water. That's okay, this is your practice, so don't feel like if you get some weird effects that you actually might like that later. So I'm putting a little bit more red and a little more purple on the top. A little more vibrant. You can see the paint's flowing right back where I removed some. You do want to be careful not to get too much of a flow coming downwards, because if the purples and the blues mixed with the warmer colors, you're going to end up with kind of a brown. Remember, opposite colors will make brown. Now, after you have this part done, you do want to set this aside. You want to keep this for the next class, because we will be practicing the water as well down below on here. I would like you to stop at this point for today. Next class, we will show you how to do your water. And then after that, you can move on to your final. And I will show you again how to do that. Thank you very much. I hope you guys had a great day and had fun.